Imagine a little boy, laughing and playing under the starry sky, surrounded by the endless expanse of Central Asian grasslands. This is where our story begins in the 5th century, a time of great change and upheaval. Meet Attila, a name that would one day become synonymous with fear and destruction. But for now, he's just a boy, full of wonder and curiosity. As the sun sets over the grasslands, Attila's nomadic family gathers around the fire, sharing stories and songs. His parents, Idiko and Krika, are proud of their young son, who loves nothing more than riding his horse and exploring the vast open spaces. Attila's laughter echoes through the night air, mingling with the sound of the wolves howling in the distance. In this harsh yet beautiful environment, Attila grows up with a deep connection to nature. He learns to read the signs of the land, to track the movements of the animals, and to navigate the treacherous terrain. He's a quick learner, and his parents are proud of his determination and resilience. But life on the grasslands is not without its challenges. Harsh winters bring bitter cold and scarcity of food. Enemies from neighboring tribes often attack, seeking to plunder and pillage. Attila sees firsthand the consequences of weakness and the importance of strength. He learns to rely on his wits and his courage to protect his family and tribe. As the years pass, Attila's childhood dreams of safety and security begin to fade. He starts to realize that the world is a harsh and unforgiving place. He sees how his parents' struggles to survive are mirrored in the struggles of the other nomadic families. He begins to understand that the only way to ensure his family's protection is to become strong, to build armies and fight for what's theirs. And so, Attila's transformation begins. He starts to see the world in a different light, as a place of power and conquest. He becomes obsessed with learning new skills, with mastering the art of horse riding and leadership. He's driven by a desire to protect his people, to ensure their safety and security in a world that seems determined to destroy them. As we watch Attila grow and change, we might wonder how a boy from the grassland became one of history's most feared warriors. What drives a person to seek power and glory, to risk everything for the sake of their tribe? The answer, like Attila's fate, is shrouded in mystery. But one thing is certain, Attila's journey is far from over. He's just beginning to realize the true extent of his potential, the depth of his ambition. He's about to embark on a path that will take him to the farthest reaches of Europe, a path that will leave a trail of destruction and devastation in its wake. And yet, as we look back on Attila's childhood, we see a boy who was once full of laughter and dreams. We see a person who was not born evil, but shaped by the harsh environment and the choices he made. We see a lesson that's just as relevant today as it was in the 5th century, that kindness and understanding can change a life's direction, that even the most feared warriors were once just children under the stars. As we continue our journey with Attila, we'll explore the complexities of his character, the twists and turns of his fate. We'll delve into the politics and intrigue of his time, the battles and conquests that made him a legend. But for now, let's simply remember the boy under the starry sky, a boy who was once full of hope and promise. The story of Attila the Hun is a story of contrasts. The beauty of the grasslands, the brutality of war, the innocence of childhood, the ruthlessness of adulthood. It's a story that will take us on a journey through the ages, a journey that will challenge our perceptions and leave us questioning the very nature of humanity. But for now, let's simply remember the boy under the starry sky, a boy who was once full of laughter and dreams. A boy who was not born evil, but shaped by the harsh environment and the choices he made. And as we move forward in our story, let's keep asking ourselves the same question. What drives a person to seek power and glory? What choices do we make, and how do they shape our lives? The answers, like Attila's fate, are far from simple. But one thing is certain. The journey of Attila the Hun will take us on a wild ride, a ride that will change the way we think about history, about power, and about the human condition. So, let's begin our journey with Attila, a journey that will take us from the grasslands of Central Asia to the courts of Europe. A journey that will reveal the complexities of his character, the twists and turns of his fate. A journey that will challenge our perceptions and leave us questioning the very nature of humanity. And as we embark on this journey, let's remember the boy under the starry sky, a boy who was once full of laughter and dreams, a boy who was not born evil, but shaped by the harsh environment and the choices he made. The story of Attila the Hun is a story that will take us on a journey through the ages, a journey that will challenge our perceptions and leave us questioning the very nature of humanity. But for now, let's simply remember the boy under the starry sky, a boy who was once full of hope and promise. And as we move forward in our story, let's keep asking ourselves the same question: what drives a person to seek power and glory? What choices do we make, and how do they shape our lives? Under the endless expanse of Central Asian grasslands, where the sky seemed to touch the earth, a little boy named Attila grew up. He was just a tiny figure, often lost in the vastness of the open plains, but his laughter echoed through the silence, a beacon of joy amidst the harsh realities of nomadic life. Attila's world was one of simplicity, where the only constants were the stars above and the wind whispers that carried secrets of the past. As the seasons changed, Attila faced the unforgiving climate head-on. Harsh winters brought biting winds and icy rains that threatened to freeze the very life out of the grasslands. Hunger stalked the tribe, its presence felt in the rumbling bellies and hollow eyes of those who struggled to find sustenance. And then there were the enemies, raiders who came out of the darkness, seeking to exploit the weakness of the nomads. Attila's family and tribe had to be constantly on guard, ready to defend themselves against the unknown threats that lurked in the shadows. In this unforgiving environment, Attila learned to adapt and survive. He learned to ride a horse before he could walk, to track the movements of predators and prey, and to navigate the treacherous terrain with ease. He developed a strength that belied his young age, a strength that would serve him well in the battles to come. And as he grew, Attila began to see the world in black and white, a world where weakness meant danger and strength was the only option for survival. Attila's father, a seasoned warrior, taught him the ways of combat and leadership. He showed him how to wield a sword, how to command a horse, and how to inspire his comrades to fight for a common cause. Attila was a quick learner, and soon he was out there on the battlefields, fighting alongside his father and the tribe. He saw the devastating effects of war, the mangled bodies, the shattered dreams, and the shattered lives. And yet he began to crave more power, more recognition, more respect. As the years passed, Attila's world became increasingly harsh. He started to see his family and tribe as just another obstacle to be overcome. He began to believe that the only way to protect them was to become stronger, to become the most feared warrior in the land. And so he set out on a path that would take him to unimaginable heights and unimaginable depths. But what drove this transformation? What was it about Attila's environment and upbringing that made him the man he became? Was it the constant threat of hunger and violence that hardened his heart? Or was it the influence of his father, a man who taught him to be ruthless and cunning? As we delve deeper into Attila's story, we'll uncover the complexities of a man who was both a product of his environment and the author of his own destiny. In the next section, we'll explore the moment when Attila's childhood dreams of safety and protection began to fade, replaced by a desire for power and recognition. We'll see how his skills with horses and leadership evolved into a vision for conquest, and how his fear of losing protection became the driving force behind his ruthless behavior. And we'll ask ourselves, was Attila the Hun born evil, or was he shaped by the world around him? As the sun dipped below the endless horizon of the Central Asian grasslands, Attila began to assert his presence. The little boy who once laughed and played under the starry sky was now a force to be reckoned with. His natural talent for leadership, honed from years of riding and exploring the vast expanse, started to take shape. Attila discovered his skills with horses at a young age, and it wasn't long before he became an expert horseman. He would spend hours in the saddle, his pony prancing across the open plains as he navigated the rugged terrain with ease. His family and tribe took notice of his abilities, and soon he was leading expeditions to scout out new grazing lands and resources. As he grew older, Attila's desire for power and protection for his people intensified. He began to build armies, gathering a loyal band of warriors who shared his vision. Together, they expanded their influence, conquering neighboring tribes and incorporating their resources into their own. Attila's reputation as a skilled leader and warrior spread far and wide, and his people began to look up to him as a protector and a provider. But what drove Attila's transformation from a carefree child to a ruthless leader? The harsh environment of the grasslands, with its unpredictable weather and scarce resources, had taught him the value of strength and cunning. He had seen firsthand how weakness could put his family and tribe in danger, and he was determined to never be in that position again. As he rose to power, Attila became increasingly ruthless in his pursuit of protection and security for his people. As Attila's power grew, so did his reputation. He became known as the Scourge of God, a feared warrior who struck fear into the hearts of kings and armies across Europe. But what lay behind the legend? Was he a monster, driven by a desire for destruction and chaos? Or was he a complex individual, shaped by his environment and choices? The truth lies somewhere in between. Attila was a product of his time and place, a man who was driven by a desire to protect and provide for his people. He was a leader who rose to power in a world where strength and cunning were the only currencies that mattered. And yet, despite his fearsome reputation, he was also a man who was capable of great kindness and compassion. As we look back on Attila's life, we are left with a complex and nuanced picture of a man who was both a product of his environment and a master of his own destiny. His story serves as a reminder that even the most feared and reviled individuals can have a multifaceted nature, and that the choices we make in life are shaped by a complex interplay of factors. But what can we learn from Attila's story? Can we apply the lessons of his life to our own and try to understand the complexities of human nature? Perhaps the most important lesson is that kindness and understanding can change the course of a life. If Attila had been given the opportunity to grow up in a more stable and secure environment, might he have turned out differently? Might he have become a leader who was known for his compassion and wisdom, rather than his fearlessness and ruthlessness? The answer, of course, is unknown. But what we do know is that Attila's story serves as a reminder that we all have the power to shape our own destiny, and that the choices we make in life can have far-reaching consequences. Whether we are leaders or followers, we all have the capacity to choose between kindness and cruelty, compassion and cruelty. And so, as we reflect on Attila's life, let us remember that no one is born evil. We are all products of our environment and choices, and the path we take in life is shaped by a complex interplay of factors. Let us strive to be understanding and compassionate, to choose kindness over cruelty, and to recognize the humanity in every individual, no matter how complex or multifaceted they may be. Attila's armies swept across Europe like a raging storm, leaving destruction and fear in their wake. The once mighty Roman Empire, the proud Visigoths, and countless other civilizations trembled at the mere mention of his name. Attila, the man who would become the most feared leader in the known world, was a force to be reckoned with. His armies were a finely tuned machine, driven by a singular goal: conquest. As they marched through the heart of Europe, Attila's warriors left a trail of devastation in their wake. Cities were reduced to rubble, their populations either slaughtered or enslaved. The very thought of Attila's presence sent shivers down the spines of kings and armies alike. They whispered stories of his brutality, of his merciless campaigns that left no quarter. And yet, for all his ruthlessness, Attila remained an enigma, a mystery that continued to fascinate and terrify those who dared to cross his path. But was Attila born to be this way? Was he destined to become the Scourge of God? Or was he shaped by the harsh environment and brutal choices of his youth? The answer, much like the man himself, remains shrouded in mystery. Some say that Attila's early life, marked by struggle and hardship, forged his unyielding spirit and unrelenting ambition. Others claim that he was born with a natural talent for leadership, a gift that he honed into a fine art through years of writing and fighting. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain. Attila's legacy is cemented as a destroyer and a conqueror. His name is synonymous with bloodshed and terror, a reminder of the devastating power of human ambition and the unyielding ferocity of war. And yet, as we gaze upon the ruins of a bygone era, we're left with a haunting question. What if kindness and understanding could have changed his path? What if the little boy who once laughed and played under the stars had been given a different chance, a chance to forge a different destiny? The answer, much like the man himself, remains a mystery, a tantalizing prospect that invites us to ponder the what-ifs of history. As we continue to explore the complex and often brutal story of Attila the Hun, we're reminded that the line between good and evil is never as clear-cut as we might think. Attila, the man who would become the most feared leader in the known world, was once just a child, vulnerable and fragile, yet full of promise and potential. And it's this paradox that continues to fascinate us, a reminder that even the most hardened of warriors may have once been a little boy, lost in the vast expanse of the open plains, searching for a place to call home. As the sun dipped below the endless horizon of the Central Asian grasslands, a young boy's laughter echoed across the open plain. Attila, a name that would one day strike fear into the hearts of kings and armies, was once just a child, full of wonder and curiosity. Raised in a nomadic family, he spent his days playing among the tents, learning to ride the horses that would become his lifeblood, and listening to stories of his ancestors' bravery. But the harsh realities of life on the grasslands soon took their toll. The biting winds of winter, the scarcity of food, and the constant threat of enemy attacks hardened Attila's heart and taught him the value of strength and survival. He learned that weakness meant danger, not just for himself, but for his family and tribe. As he grew older, Attila's desire for power and protection intensified, fueled by the fear of losing those he loved. As his world became increasingly harsh, Attila's transformation began. The child who once dreamed of safety and security gave way to a desire for dominance and control. His skills with horses and leadership made him a natural commander, and soon he was building armies and forging a reputation as a ruthless warrior. But what drives this transformation? Is it the environment, or is it something deeper within him? As we reflect on Attila's story, we're forced to confront the darker aspects of human nature. We see the fears, the vulnerabilities, and the weaknesses that can drive even the most well-intentioned individuals to darkness. But we also see the power of kindness and understanding to change a life's direction. Attila's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition, but it's also a testament to the human spirit's capacity for growth and redemption. The question we must ask ourselves is, what if Attila's life had taken a different turn? What if he had chosen a path of compassion and empathy rather than conquest and destruction? Would he have been remembered as a hero rather than a villain? The answer, of course, is impossible to know, but it's a reminder that even the most feared leaders can inspire empathy and reflection. As we look back on Attila's legacy, we're left with a haunting question. Was he truly born evil, or was he shaped by the harsh realities of his environment? The answer, I believe, is the latter. No one is born evil. We're all products of our experiences, our choices, and our circumstances. And it's up to us to choose the path we want to follow.